Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just be officially updating you on some more current transfer rumours and gossip. So if you do consider drop your likes, and if you do consider subscribe to this channel as always. So there's lots to negotiate on this video today. Going to keep you up to date with what's going on with Paul Dybala. There's also huge developments in the situation in regards to Mario Mandzukic. I do of course I want to give you an update on. So we are going to currently start with Paul Dybala. So reportedly Paul Dybala has been given until Monday, to decide whether to stay at Juventus or, of course, leave Juventus. So I do believe that Juventus have imposed a deadline on his current transfer saga. Now we do know that a lot of reports have emerged out in last week or so. Saying that Manchester, there could be a swap deal involved, between Romelu Lukaku and Paul Dybala. Obviously, Sky in Italy, came out earlier on this week, and they said Manchester United and Juventus had agreed a swap deal in principle, involving Romelu Lukaku and Paul Dybala. But obviously, for this swap deal to finalise, obviously, Paul Dybala has got to agree a move to Manchester United. Now, I do believe, Paul Dybala now has become sad and infuriated with Juventus, because obviously, he has been currently training on his own. Obviously, I think Juventus forced him to currently train on his own. Now, I do believe there's actually been a change of scenery, and I do believe now he wants out of Juventus does Dybala, because initially, his actual preference was to remain in Turin. I do believe that Paul Dybala, when he does return to training with Juventus next week, he's set to hold talks with Maurizio Sarri regarding his future and all that. Well, he was initially supposed to hold talks with Maurizio Sarri early on this week, but obviously he had been withdrawn from Juventus training until his transfer saga, of course, is resolved. But we have been tentatively linked with Paul Dybala. For the large portions of the summer, he hasn't been one of our main priority targets. But the links have really emerged in the last week or so. But I hope this swap deal does go through, because I do like Paul Dybala a lot. Obviously, we do know earlier on this week as well that Paul Dybala's agent has held quite a few negotiations with Manchester United. His agent was in London, of course. He was also holding secondary talks with Manchester United, overcoming to an agreement on the personal terms. And also, I think the Juventus director was I think he was in London. I think he was also in Manchester, discussing Paul Dybala's potential move to Manchester United. But I think, Juventus are keen on offloading a couple of their players anyway, because, they have done good investment this summer. They spent a substantial amount on Cristiano Ronaldo last summer. They spent a substantial amount on Matty Stillett this summer. They also got likes of Adrian Rabiot and Ramsey and that on the board. So Juventus may want to offload a couple of players, to help them generate funds, help them with their wage bill, of course. But I'd love Paul Dybala, to come to Manchester United. But he is now set to hold talks with Maurizio Sarri regarding his future. But his actual preference was, to remain in Turin. But I think, it's beneficial that this swap deal does go through, because you've got Paul Dybala now that serves his 2 requirements at, Juventus, and you've got Romelu Lukaku that serves his 2 requirements at Manchester United. But I still believe, even if Dybala doesn't agree a move to Manchester United, I still believe that Juventus do want to get Romelu Lukaku, because I do believe Lukaku has agreed the move to Juventus. He's agreed the personal terms, and I think he's set to earn around £160,000 a week. So basically now this swap deal to go through hinges all on Paul Dybala basically. But like I said, Man United, I do believe, still remain in talks with Juventus. But like I said, you've got Lukaku serve his 2 requirements at Manchester United, you've got Dybala serve his 2 requirements at Juventus. He does want to fight his place back into the squad. Obviously, he'd lost his initial place for Juventus last season to Cristiano Ronaldo, and I do believe Cristiano Ronaldo's had his overarching view on it, and he's actually instructed Paul Dybala to make a move to Manchester United, because maybe Ronaldo believes it will be beneficial for his career. And don't get me wrong, swap deals are very rare to the highest level of the game, but I think this swap deal could be beneficial for Manchester United, also beneficial for Juventus, and also beneficial for both players indeed. But I want Paul Dybala to come to Manchester United, because I think he'll be a good upgrade to the likes of Lingard and Juan Mata, and I would be excited about the prospect of linking Dybala up with the likes of Rashford, Martial and Daniel James in our attacking line. Obviously, we do need a bit more experience in that attacking line, but I've been analysing pre-season. I can see the vast improvements in Manchester United. We do look a much better team. We do look better in the attacking third of the pitch, because we've got that pace now in our current attacking line, and that's something we lacked last season. Was that pace, and that's the main factor reason last season why we didn't score enough goals. This is why, of course, we wasn't ruthless enough in front of a goal. But we have got that pace, and I've got Daniel James with electrifying pace. Don't get me wrong, Daniel James is still a prospect and needs time to develop. Dybala. You know, you've got Martial and Rashford that have got fantastic pace. You know, they can both play centrally. You know, they can both play out wide. I think the club will actually orchestrate on playing Martial more centrally this season in the Premier League, because I think, you know, he looks more effective in that number 9 role, as you have seen, you know, throughout pre-season. You know, you've got Greenwood now, who's the upcoming future, of course. You know, he's going to be promoted into the first team this season. Obviously, you've got Chon, that's the upcoming future. So we do look better in that attacking line, but I do believe we need to add a bit more experience, and I think Paul Dybala would be the right solution. He's in my top 10 category, definitely is Paul Dybala. You know, he's a forward, but I think he does predominantly, you know, play as a number 10. You know, he's only 25 years of age. Obviously, you know, in the large portions of his 4 years with Juventus, he has done really well as Dybala. You know, obviously he's scored 118 goals so far in his career. In the entirety of his career so far, he scored 118 goals. In his 4 years with Juventus, he scored 78 goals in 182 appearances. Obviously, he's still got, I think, 3 years left on his contract with Juventus. But I think, you know, Dybala was, you know, he had his overarching view on it. He's aware of the speculation, but I think he did say he has got reservations about joining Manchester United, because I think he's got concerns that his trophy aspirations, you know, cannot be matched by Manchester United. And obviously, you know, we're not in a Champions League football and all that. I do believe one thing Paul Dybala did demand, that he doesn't want his wages cut by 25% if we do fail to qualify for the Champions League this season. So I do believe, you know, certain players, you know, will have reservations about joining the club, because obviously we're not in Champions League football and all that. So yeah, I think Paul Dybala has got some reservations about coming to Manchester United, but he's a large portion of his 4 years with Juventus, he's done well. He's won 4 Serie A's, you know, he's won 3 Coppa Italians, and I do believe, you know, he's been named in the Serie A team of the year on 3 occasions, you know, reflecting on his impressive performances. And obviously, you know, Juventus did pay around 40 million euros for him from Parma back in 2015. But I would be excited about the prospect of Dybala coming in. Like I said, he hasn't been one of our main priority targets, but the links have really emerged in the last week or so. You know, there's been a lot of talks of a swap deal, you know, going through, and I do hope, you know, this can happen, you know. But, you know, Dybala may not come to Manchester United yet, because obviously he hasn't made a decision on his future. But now we've obviously, you know, with him training on his own, obviously, you know, Juventus are basically trying to force him out of their football club. But yeah, hopefully, you know, Dybala can come to Manchester United. Obviously, we do know so far this summer, you know, we have got 3 players on the board. Obviously, you know, we spent around £148 million on Daniel James, on Wan-Bissaka, and of course on Harry Maguire. Obviously, as you all know, Harry Maguire hasn't been fully announced as yet. He hasn't been fully announced as yet. I do believe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said Harry Maguire could make his Manchester United debut next week against Chelsea in the opening day of the Premier League season. Obviously, you know, we've agreed an £80 million fee with Leicester for Harry Maguire. Obviously, Brendan Rodgers confirmed that on Friday. Obviously, you know, he's going to be the most expensive defender in the world, and obviously, you know, the fee we are paying is obviously not going to exceed the fee of what Liverpool paid for Virgil van Dijk back in January 2018, because Liverpool paid around £75 million for Virgil van Dijk. I do believe, obviously, he completed his medical yesterday, so I do believe his moves to Manchester United, you know, should be announced either later on today, or it should be announced tomorrow. He has agreed to sign a 5-year contract with Manchester United, worth up to around, I think, £200,000 a week. So I think we have doubled his wages. I do believe in the contract there's also an option of a further year, so it's actually, you know, a 6-year deal. But yeah, like I said, I'm very happy, you know, we have got a Harry Maguire over the line, and he's going to dramatically improve us defensively, because I did say our priority last summer, you know, was to recommend a central defender to come in. Obviously, we didn't get our number 1 targets last summer, because the board weren't backing the signings that Jose Mourinho wanted to recommend in to the football club. But, you know, we had been relentlessly linked with Harry Maguire. Obviously, at last, his transfer saga has come to a conclusion, because we've been in negotiations with Leicester for weeks, you know, to get a deal over the line for him, and I think he's going to do really well at Manchester United. And I did say, you know, we've had issues defensively, you know, for several years. You know, we haven't had a world-class central defender since we had the likes of Vidic and Ferdinand. Since we had the likes of Vidic and Ferdinand, you know, we haven't had a world-class central defender. And I do believe, you know, we have overpaid for Harry Maguire. I did say in this market, you know, he's probably worth around £70 million, you know, Harry Maguire. But I did say over that £70 million mark, you know, basically, you know, we are paying too much for the player. But initially, Leicester did say, you know, they'd let him go if we was willing to meet their valuation. In the end, we decided to meet their valuation. But for large periods of this summer, you know, we was reluctant to pay what Leicester were demanding, because obviously Leicester said they wanted in the excess of £80 million. Obviously, you know, we we was reluctant to pay more than £70 million for the current player. But yeah, I think he arrived at the training ground today as well, did Harry Maguire, but he should be fully announced either this evening, or he should be fully announced tomorrow. But reflecting back 3 weeks ago, it was looking like Man City were going to get Harry Maguire on the board. Don't forget, City, had been in talks with Leicester for quite some time. It was looking like City were going to get him. City were going to give him around 280 grand a week, and at one point, Harry Maguire's actual preference was Manchester City ahead of Manchester United. City were seeing him as a replacement for Vincent Kompany, but obviously City had withdrawn their interest because City were not willing to pay £80 million for Harry Maguire. They was only willing to pay, I think, around £65 million. Don't forget, we had 2 bids turned down for him. I think we had a £70 million bid turned down for him in July. But obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer identified Harry Maguire as his number one defensive target. Obviously, he instructed Ed Woodward, to get the deal over the line, because obviously Ed Woodward has been overseeing our transfer business. Obviously, he's been working on getting deals over the line, but he had been working on the Harry Maguire deal for quite I think he'd been working on since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer instructed him, to get the deal over the line. But Solskjaer did say he wants Harry Maguire to partner up alongside Lindelof in our back line, and I am excited about the prospect of Harry Maguire, linking up alongside Lindelof in our back line. I'm very excited about that. I know we've bought central defenders in recent years, and we have got quite a lot of central defenders. With Harry Maguire coming in, we're going to have around 7 central defenders. So now maybe Manchester United, we may orchestrate on selling one central defender, of course, because we've got 7. When Harry Maguire's moved to Manchester United is fully announced. But yeah, we bought Lindelof a couple of years ago for £31 million from Benfica. Obviously, he's flourishing at Manchester United. He did well in his second season with the club. Didn't really do well in his first season, Lindelof, but I think he's really improving at Manchester United. Is Victor Lindelof. So I think him and Harry Maguire in our backline, they're going to make a fantastic partnership. Obviously, we bought Bay, over 3 years ago now from Villarreal for £30 million. But I think Eric Bay's a huge doubt for this season, because obviously, he sustained a serious knee injury, and I do believe that Eric Bay is out for up to 5 months. But yeah, like I said, Harry Maguire is going to be a good upgrade to the likes of Smalling and Phil Jones in that back line, because Smalling and Phil Jones have been 2 long-serving players at the football club. Obviously, Smalling's been here 9 years, Phil Jones has been here 8 years. There's still quite a few players here that have been long-serving players at Manchester United. Smalling and Jones, Ash Young, of course, has been a long-serving player. He's been here 8 years. You've got De Gea, that of course has been here 8 years. De Gea's obviously agreed now a 6-year contract with Manchester United. So there's quite a few long-serving players still at the football club. We've had Juan Mata here, of course, for around 5 years. Initially Valencia did leave the club at the end of last season, but he served 10 years at Manchester United. Ander Herrera and Mario Fellaini, but there were 2 long-serving players at the club as well. So we've still got players now that a lot have been long-serving players here. We had players that were long-serving players at Manchester United and all that. But Harry Maguire will, like I said, will be a good upgrade to Smalling and Phil Jones without a shadow of a doubt. And it's also very beneficial because he's well Premier League proven, and he's only in his mid-20s. He's 26 years of age. He has still got a lot of years ahead of him. Plus, he's British, and Solskjaer did confirm at the end of last season, he wants to recruit young players to Manchester United this summer. He also wants to recruit British talent to the squad, and Harry Maguire, fits that perfectly. And obviously, Brendan Rodgers, like I said, he confirmed on Friday that Man United and Leicester had agreed an £80 million fee. Obviously, he was satisfied, with the money that Leicester have obviously, generated for his current departure. Obviously, Leicester now are going to want a replacement for Harry Maguire. I do believe they've identified a couple of players, but I think, they're looking to get Lewis Dunk over the line from Brighton. But obviously, it fueled a lot of speculation about Harry Maguire. Obviously, when he was, it fueled a lot of speculation about Harry Maguire, of course, when he was absent from training on Monday, earlier on this week. Allegedly was absent from training because he had some kind of sickness bug, and also he was left out of Leicester's squad. He was left out of Leicester's squad for their final pre-season game against Atlanta on Friday. Obviously, Leicester did win that game by 2-1, but I think the majority of Leicester's friendlies throughout pre-season, I think actually Harry Maguire participated in them. But it was only early on this week that Brendan Rodgers give his overarching view on the speculation about Harry Maguire, and he actually dismissed speculation that Man United were close to signing Harry Maguire, and he did indicate out that Harry Maguire was no closer to leaving Leicester for Manchester United. But Harry Maguire said he wanted to leave Leicester anywhere. He informed Brendan Rodgers the other week. He also informed his Leicester teammates that he does want to leave Leicester to obviously rejuvenate his career and take his footballing career to the next level. This is what Harry Maguire currently said. this is what, he'd said he wanted to leave, to rejuvenate his career and that. And obviously now he said he wants to come to Manchester United. Now he's obviously not going to relish that opportunity. But like I said, he had 2 good seasons, when he was at Leicester. He made 76 appearances in all competitions. 69 of those appearances had come in the Premier League. And don't forget, he only signed a 5-year deal with Leicester last September. So he did have still 4 years remaining on his contract, when he was at Leicester. He had 4 years left in his contract. Obviously as well, it's a good thing because Mike Phelan is going to get that reunion with Harry Maguire. Don't forget, Mike Phelan managed Harry Maguire, during his short tenure with Hull, so Mike Phelan is now, of course, going to get that reunion. I do believe that also Alex Ferguson has been a keen admirer of the player for quite some time, because I do believe he was also in for Harry Maguire, when he was a youngster at Sheffield United. So obviously, back in, was it 2012, 2013, Harry Maguire was playing in League One football, so he has, grown and developed, fantastically well as Harry Maguire. But I do believe he's got all the attributes, and I do believe he's going to definitely succeed at Manchester United. But this is good business from the football club. It's good business from Manchester United. It's also good business for Ed Woodward. We may have overpaid for him, but I still think he's going to be a very, very good player for Manchester United. Because don't forget, look at his distributions, very, very good. He shows that ability to play out from the back. He's also very, very good in the air. There may be a slight element of concern about him because he's not really quick, Harry Maguire, but I don't think that's a current issue. I wouldn't put him in Virgil van Dijk's calibre or level, Harry Maguire, because Virgil van Dijk is the best central defender in the world. But for me, I think Harry Maguire is going to deliver the goods to Manchester United. And like I said, Solskjaer was recently talking about our recruitment policy and analysing our recruitment policy in the past couple of windows. It hasn't been good enough. We didn't get anyone in January. Obviously, we didn't get our number 1 targets last summer. But I do believe anyway, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got a substantial amount to spend, and like I did say, the board did assure that there was going to be back in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer this summer, because obviously this has been Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first summer as Manchester United manager, so basically he's in the process of rebuilding. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he was suggesting out that it is a difficult window. It's not always easy to get the players that you do currently want, especially when you're not in Champions League football. But he just basically said we've got to be patient in this window. These now only 4 days remaining now this current transfer window. So I do believe when we get Harry Maguire fully announced, Manchester United, of course, still need more signings, because we need to get a couple of new additions in that midfield, regardless of what happens with Paul Pogba. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has also had his overarching view on the speculation with Paul Pogba. I know he didn't play against AC Milan yesterday, did Paul Pogba, but Solskjaer said there's no doubt, He said basically, I think he basically said there's no doubt, he thinks Paul Pogba will stay at Manchester United this season and all that. And I do believe, based on the extortionate amount we put on Paul Pogba, I do believe this is the stumbling block of him making his proposed move away from Manchester United. I do believe we need to sell players, because these are problematic players at the football club that do need to leave. But we do know how much of an imperative player that Paul Pogba is. Don't get me wrong, we'd get a substantial amount for his departure, of course, but not I don't think anyone's going to be willing to meet 180 million, because that's what we want for him. So basically, we're demanding more than double than what we initially paid for him from Juventus back in 2016, of course. So we said, we want around 180 million pounds. But yeah, like when Harry Maguire is fully announced, I'm hopeful that we can get a deal over the line for Bruno Fernandes, and then hopefully we can get this deal over the line for Paulo Dybala. But actually now, as it turns out, our 4th signing has actually been currently revealed, according to recent reports. And I want to give you a big update on Mario Mandzukic. Now, according to a number of media outlets I have been reading today, it has basically said now that Manchester United have agreed personal terms with Mario Mandzukic from Juventus, and reportedly we've agreed personal terms with him on I think around a 3-year contract, worth up to around 6.2 million a year. So they reportedly, Mandzukic will sign a 3-year deal with Manchester United with around 6.2 million a year, and reportedly, he will get around a 35% increase on his wages. Will Mario Mandzukic, according to reports. Well, I don't know if Manchester United are going to be paying a fee. The fee will be reasonable anyway. I think we'd have to pay around 15 million pounds. But obviously, but Juventus actually might want to include him as part of a swap, for Romelu Lukaku, instead of obviously of us paying a fee. So if Lukaku, of course, is part of the deal of Mandzukic coming to Manchester United, obviously we don't have to pay any type of fee. Obviously, it's been coming out in the last week as I've been reading a bit of news up about Mario Mandzukic. Obviously, he's only got a couple of years left of his career, you've got to say, because he's now 33 years of age. Is Mandzukic. I still think we're keen on signing Mandzukic, by the way, even if the swap deal doesn't go through with Dybala. And obviously, Romelu Lukaku, I still believe, we're keen on signing him. Like I said, he's 33 years of age. I think he's been at Juventus around 4 years. I think he's scored 44 goals in 162 games, and I think he's provided 24 assists in all competitions for Juventus. And he has been at Juventus around 4 years as Mario Mandzukic. I do believe he's around 6'3". Obviously, he's a forward, but he's got his goal scoring pedigree is absolutely fantastic. Especially where with Juventus. I do believe in his entire career so far. I do believe he scored around 188 goals in 476 appearances. So reportedly now he actually could be our fourth signing. So if he's actually a fee involved, so if Lukaku isn't part of the deal, Manchester United will have to pay around 15 million pounds. And obviously we've got 3 players on the board for 148 million. So that will take our spending spree up to around 163 million pounds. There was talk saying that Mandzukic and Dybala could both come to Manchester United as part of a deal. I think of Lukaku going to Juventus. But either way, I still think we want to get this deal wrapped up for Mario Mandzukic, because obviously Mauricio Sarri has confirmed that Mario Mandzukic is no longer part of his plans at Juventus, and I think Mario Mandzukic, of course, has agreed to leave Juventus. But yeah, his goals, he can score goals. This player, obviously, he's highly experienced. Obviously, as a forward, and I think he would blend in our attacking line. But I have got some concerns about his age. My actual preference would be Dybala, of course, ahead of Mario Mandzukic, because obviously, Dybala's got a hell of a lot more development in him. So there's recent reports coming out saying that a fee of around £15 million could be paid if Lukaku's not part of the deal. It's basically saying that he's agreed the personal terms with Manchester United. He's Croatian as well. Reportedly, he's agreed a 3-year deal with around £6.2 million a year, and reportedly he'll get an increase on his wages than what he's on at Juventus at the moment. So reportedly he's going to get around a 35% wages increased, according to the Daily Mail. So that's the latest news about Mario Mandzukic. But like I said, there has been a hell of a lot of speculation, this summer, about players supposedly coming in and, of course, players leaving. Like I said, there's only now, 4 days remaining this transfer window. But I do believe, we're going to have a much better season this season, than what we did last season, because last season was a huge disappointment. Obviously, we finished 6th. We didn't win any silverware, but, we haven't won any silverware in the past couple of seasons. But I do believe we're going to have a better season this season. It was only the other week that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was talking about our ambitions for this season. He believes we'll be aiming for further up than 4th this season. I think this season we'll probably finish 4th, we may even finish 3rd, we may even finish 2nd, but I'm still sceptical about Manchester United winning the league. I do believe our expectations this season will be to finish in the top 4, maybe win a trophy, and obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's got to exceed these expectation levels, but I initially said I do believe that that top 4 will be our aspirations in the next couple of seasons, of course, but I am still sceptical of Manchester United win the league, because obviously still more further investment is needed in the squad without a shadow of a doubt. But like I said, last season was a huge disappointment. Don't forget, last season we conceded 54 goals in 38 Premier League games, and that was our highest total in 40 years. So as I did say, that just shows the issues that we've currently got defensively. But like I said, we still need to revitalise the squad. And actually, looking at, we failed to qualify for the Champions League, 3 times out of the past 6 seasons, since Alex Ferguson's retirement. So that just emphasises, how inconsistent, we have been for the last 5 or 6 years. But, I do believe, guys, we have been a toxic club for the last 5 or 6 years, but we've been a toxic club because obviously, we've been mismanaged. Obviously, we've had different managers with different type of philosophies, and obviously, it hasn't, they haven't, these managers that have been sacked, obviously, haven't had the stature, to get us in that commanding position, of course, where we do currently want to be. Obviously, it didn't work under Moyes' era. He only had a short tenure with Manchester United anyway. he only had a 9-month tenure. He spent around £67 million when he was there. And then we got Van Gaal in. He had when Van Gaal came in, he had a bit of a pedigree behind him. He did well at Bayern Munich and all that, but it didn't work out under Louis Van Gaal. We did win the FA Cup under Louis Van Gaal era. Obviously, it didn't work out under the Jose Mourinho era, even though he's a winner and he's got a proven pedigree. He's won trophies and that everywhere he's been, but it didn't work out for Mourinho at Manchester United. And the couple of main factors why it didn't work out for Jose Mourinho, because obviously he had bad disputes with the board. Obviously, he had bad disputes with some of the players. Obviously, the board weren't backing the signs that he wanted to recommend into the football club last summer, so it didn't work out under him, even though he did win the Europa League and the League Cup with us in his first season at Manchester United, and obviously spent just under £400 million under the Jose Mourinho era. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he's still inheriting, 11 of Jose Mourinho's players. He's still inheriting players here from the Van Gaal era. There's still matter here from the David Moyes era, and there's still players here from the Alex Ferguson era, of course, that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is inheriting. So there is, he's still basically in the process of rebuilding. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did say quite a while back, he said he believes he's following a policy that proved successful under Alex Ferguson, and Solskjaer is following Alex Ferguson's philosophy, of course, because obviously he wants to get Manchester United back to being a competitive elite level football club. But a hell of a lot of money has been invested into the club, since Alex Ferguson's retirement. A hell of a lot of money has been invested. I'd say, I did initially say, before we bought any players under the Solskjaer era, that's around £700 million, or over £700 million has been spent, and that now obviously, we're going to get Harry Maguire and that on the board, and obviously we've got Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka in. You can say we've spent around £800 million in the space of around, 6 or 7 years nearly now. So a hell of a lot of money has been invested into the football club. But quite a few people said, we should be actually, sensible of our recruitment this summer. Quite a few people said that, because it's all like I did say, Solskjaer did say, he's not intending on overspending on our transfer targets. But I do believe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to get Manchester United back. He's going to get us back up there, competing and winning trophies. No one's going to ever follow Alex Ferguson's legacy. We're never going to achieve what we achieved under Alex Ferguson, because we had 20 odd years of success under Alex Ferguson. We're not going to replicate that, regardless who our manager is here. Like I said, even if we had a manager with proven pedigree or to the highest level. But I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, will succeed, of course, because he has got a bit of experience now behind him as Solskjaer. Don't forget, he did well in his first 3 months when he was the interim manager of Manchester United. He did really, really well in that 3-month period. Did Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Obviously, he did win a couple of Norwegian titles there with Molde as well, don't forget. So he hasn't really got the experience of manager to the highest level, but he was a great player for Manchester United for 11 years under Alex Ferguson, don't forget. But like I said, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was talking, he was talking about our transfer business. He basically said, we're looking to sign at least 1 or 2 more players before this window does currently shut. But I'm still sceptical about Manchester United winning the league this season, don't get me wrong. But I think the players, Manchester United need to sell. I think we need to get rid of Darmian. We also need to get rid of Marcus Rojo, because they're 2 problematic players at the football club. With Darmian, he hasn't really been given the chance, as Darmian, so he's been a huge disappointment. With Rojo, he's injury prone just like Eric Bailly is, and Rojo's career has been mainly affected, the amount of injuries he's sustained. So we could generate around £36 million for the departures of Marcus Rojo and Matteo Darmian. With Sanchez, we've tried to get rid of him. We've tried to get rid of Alexis Sanchez, for large portions of the summer. But obviously, we couldn't get rid of Alexis Sanchez, because obviously, it's actually, his substantial wages, basically. This is why we found it hard, obviously, to get rid of Sanchez. Obviously, he didn't play. He didn't make one appearance throughout pre-season. I think Sanchez has actually, been injured. I do believe it said he's back in training now, is Sanchez. Obviously, I think he's working on his full fitness. So I think he did sustain an injury while on Copa America duty, with Chile. I think he had sustained an injury at Sanchez. But yeah, and I think, I said we needed to get rid of Sanchez, but obviously he's going to remain at Manchester United. Obviously, hopefully, Lukaku can leave the football club. Like I said, I don't think Matic is good enough anymore. Matic is too inconsistent, he's too slow, he's too ineffective in that midfield. And you do now have got strong reservations about him. He's not getting any younger now anywhere. The man Matic is aging up. But yeah, and I think that midfield is one of the pivotal areas where, of course, Manchester United do need to strengthen up. We definitely need to strengthen that midfield up, and obviously it's in our plans to actually keep Paul Pogba at the football club and bring 2 new midfielders in that can actually replace Ander Herrera and Mario Fellaini, because obviously they've both left the football club. But Solskjaer's working on bringing players in who he thinks are going to fit the culture of the club and the history of the club, because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is looking to build a squad worthy of the club's history, and he's also, working on keeping his imperative players at the football club. But, Solskjaer does know how much of an imperative player that Paul Pogba is. But we definitely need new additions in that midfield, because, look at our midfield. You've got Matic, like I've just said, he's too inconsistent. We've got Matic. We've got McTominay. He's done really, really well throughout pre-season. He has gained a bit more experience, and I do believe McTominay, will get his chances this season in the Premier League. But I have got concerns about him a bit. I don't know if he's got all the attributes to succeed at Manchester United, so I am still sceptical about McTominay. But don't get me wrong, he's still got a lot of development in him. To be fair to the likes of McTominay and Fred, I've got concerns about both of them. With Fred, he hasn't really replicated what he did at Shakhtar Donetsk at Manchester United. He's done okay in pre-season. He did well towards the back end of last season. Did Fred. Fred, but I'm still very sceptical about him. But McTominay and Fred, I think they're better solutions than Nemanja Matic, because I think they're more mobile on the ball. I think they're better on the ball than Nemanja Matic. To be fair, to McTominay and Fred, you've got the likes of Andres Pereira in that midfield. So basically, just analysing that midfield, it isn't good enough. So we've got to bring at least one midfielder in. I'd be happy with one midfielder in. That's dependent on if Paul Pogba stays in the football club. If Paul Pogba does leave the football club, which I don't think he will now, I do believe we need two new additions in that midfield. So Solskjaer said anyway, regardless what happens with Paul Pogba, we're still looking to bring two new additions in that current midfield. Obviously now, I think we did really, really well in pre-season. I think we scored 12 goals, only 3 goals conceded. So yeah, we did really, really well in pre-season. We started it pre-season in Australia. We had 2 good results in Australia. 2-0 against Perth Glory, 4-0 against Leeds United. Then obviously, after Australia, we travelled to Singapore and we had a good result against Inter Milan, winning 1-0. And then obviously after that, we travelled to Shanghai and we beat Tottenham by 2-1. And then obviously, after that, we went to Norway, where originally Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is from, and beat Kristiansund 1-0. And of course, in our final pre-season game, we beat AC Milan on penalties 5-4, but the game ended 2-2, and that was obviously in Cardiff. But throughout pre-season, the young players did really, really well, and more or less, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer give everybody the chance, the young players, the fringe players, the experienced players, and he will give everybody the chance going on into this season in the Premier League. I should presume more or less everyone will currently get the chance. But I've been impressed with Greenwood throughout pre-season. I've been impressed with Chong. I've seen glimpses of how good Angel Gomez has been. Daniel James has been fantastic. Alman Masaka, of course, has been fantastic. I think Alex Tuanzebe has been fantastic. Some people said, we should loan Alex Tuanzebe out for another season, to gain him a bit more experience, because he did well on his loan spell with Aston Villa last season. I think Diego Dalot's also done well. I think Pereira's done quite well. McTominay's done well, like I said. So yeah, the majority of the young players, and I think the majority of the other players in that have done really, really well. I think mainly the only disappointing player, of course, has been Nemanja Matic. The only players that didn't play on tour on pre-season was Lukaku. We obviously didn't play. Sanchez didn't play. Darmian didn't play. I don't think Lee Grant played either, because obviously Lee Grant has obviously been injured. I don't think Fosu Mensah did, because I think he's been injured. Demetri Mitchell, obviously he's been injured. But yeah, we have got a pretty decent squad. It will even look better, when Harry Maguire he's moved to Manchester United, is fully announced, but I still say there's still deficiencies in the squad that do need to be addressed. So if we, get a midfielder in, so we're looking likely now, according to reports anyway, we're going to get Mario Mandzukic from Juventus, so he'd look good in our attacking line, but I'd prefer Dybala over Mandzukic. It'd be even, more better if we did get both of them, but I can't see, Manchester United getting Dybala and Mandzukic. We'll get one of them, but Juventus could obviously, include, him as part of a swap deal for Lukaku, so then obviously Man United wouldn't have to pay a fee. But if Lukaku isn't part of the deal of Mandzukic coming to Manchester United, then obviously we're going to have to pay around the £15 million fee. But that's very, very cheap, to be quite fair. But yeah, still more further investment is needed in the squad without a shadow of a doubt. I'm looking forward to the game against Chelsea. This week, obviously, next weekend. It's on Sunday, I think. Obviously, it's the opening day of the Premier League season. Now, obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to get more of an indication now of what squad to go with against Chelsea, and I've got a glimpse idea of what team he's going to go with. Obviously, Harry Maguire could actually make his debut against Chelsea. So if he does, he'll go alongside Lindelof in our back line. Obviously, that'll be his first choice centre back partnership. Well, obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's and that. Obviously, the likes of Smalling and Jones now may find it difficult to get in that back line. The only way I think they're getting is obviously if Harry Maguire or Lindelof sustained some kind of injury. But we need to get rid of Rojo. There's no point in Rojo being here because he isn't going to get the chance. With Eric Bailly, I think he needs to maybe go. I know he's an imperative player, but he's too injury prone now. He's Eric Bailly. But yeah, so it will be Harry Maguire and Lindelof in our backline against Chelsea if he does make his debut against Chelsea. Obviously, Wan Bissaka will be at right back because he's going to be our first choice right back this season. It'll definitely be Luke Shaw at left back. Luke Shaw, I've been very impressed with him as well. He won the double play of the season last season. Reflecting on his impressive performances. And I think we look okay on that left hand side. If you analysed it last season, the majority of our attack, of course, was coming from that left hand side. And obviously, Daniel James and Wan Bissaka will get given their Premier League debuts. Obviously, which is also, very, very good. They'll get the Premier League debuts. Hopefully, Harry Maguire, can be giving him his debut against Chelsea. If he doesn't, obviously, he will obviously, make his debut against Wolves. Obviously, Wolves is the second game of the current season. But yeah, I think we should beat Chelsea. Chelsea. You don't underestimate them. They're a pretty decent team, but obviously, they need further investment in their squad. I do believe. They lost Eden Hazard. Chelsea, they've got problems at the moment because they lost Hazard. Obviously, they lost Eden Hazard. They've got a transfer ban, so they can't do any transfer activity in the next couple of windows. I do believe they've also got a few injury problems of Chelsea, and we used to do well against them at Old Trafford anyway. I think we've beaten Chelsea in our last two visits at Old Trafford. Last season, sorry, was 1-1 at Old Trafford, but I think we did beat them twice at Old Trafford under the Jose Mourinho. We were part of at Stamford Bridge. Won at Stamford Bridge all last season in the FA Cup. I think that was the first time we won at Stamford Bridge since 2012 and that. I think actually now he's Frank Lampard, Chelsea manager, if I'm right. So we'll give you the news now in regards to Bruno Fernandes, as they have been updating you on a regular basis about Bruno Fernandes. Now, actually, we could miss out now on Bruno Fernandes. Well, he could still come to Manchester United, but as you all do know, reportedly, Bruno Fernandes has told Sporting Lisbon that he does want to join Tottenham. So his preference is a move to Tottenham. Obviously, we do know for the entirety of the summer that Manchester United have been in there for Bruno Fernandes. I do believe Bruno Fernandes is set to make his final appearance for Sporting Lisbon this evening against Benfica in the Portuguese Super Cup, and then obviously after that game, he will be leaving Sporting Lisbon. Obviously, reports emerged out on Friday morning. Bruno Fernandes obviously left Sporting Lisbon's training ground after a meeting, to finalise his transfer exit. Obviously, I do believe Bruno Fernandes spoken with Federico Varandas, the Sporting Lisbon president, and I think him and his agent had a meeting with the president of Sporting Lisbon, and of course the director of Sporting Lisbon. But I do believe Tottenham are in talks to sign Bruno Fernandes. It confirmed early on this week that Tottenham sent officials out to Portugal, to meet up Federico Varandas and that to get a possible deal thrashed out for Bruno Fernandes. And obviously, Tottenham have invested this summer. They've got two players on the board. Obviously, they smashed their transfer record on Tanguy Ndombele, who they paid them around £65 million. So they also got Jack Clark from Leeds. But I do believe Tottenham's preference now is to get a number 10 in. So they do want to recommend an attacker midfielder in do Tottenham. So they're obviously been in for Giovanni Lo Celso. Obviously, Giovanni Lo Celso has been one of Tottenham's main priority targets. Obviously, Tottenham have been in negotiations for quite some time. Real Betis. Obviously, Real Betis are open to selling the player, but Real Betis, of course, want around £55 million. They want 50. I think they don't. They want around £70 million. Sorry, it's Tottenham that want to pay around £55 million. Giovanni Lo Celso's initial release clause is around £88 million. But Tottenham have been in for him for months. Tottenham, don't forget, had a £52 million bid turned down for him. Giovanni Lo Celso's release clause is around £88 million. But yeah, Tottenham have been in there for Giovanni Lo Celso. So basically now, I think Tottenham are seeing Bruno Fernandes as an alternative to him basically, and I think his actual preference now is a move to Tottenham. Recent reports have actually said that Real Madrid now have entered the race for Bruno Fernandes. But actually reflecting back earlier on this week, it said Man United had an agreement, in principle, with Sporting Lisbon for Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes has told his Sporting Lisbon teammates that he's expected to leave this summer. But Damasio came out earlier on this week, just like he did in regards to Harry Maguire. And Damasio said that Man United are close to signing Bruno Fernandes. And Damasio is a reliable Italian journalist. The majority of the time, Bruno Fernandes is quite that Damasio is quite reliable. But actually, Sporting Lisbon came out earlier on this week, and they denied speculation that we'd reached an agreement to sign Bruno Fernandes. And reports came out earlier on this week saying that we'd made an offer to Sporting Lisbon through Bruno Fernandes' agent. But Bruno Fernandes' agent, has been working on getting Bruno Fernandes' transfer away from Sporting Lisbon complete, because he has been to the UK quite a few times, and I think Bruno Fernandes' agent is looking for the best possible deal for his current client. But you had British journalists coming out the other week saying that Manchester United have not been interested in Bruno Fernandes all summer. We have been interested in Bruno Fernandes all summer, because obviously he has been one of our main priority targets. Obviously for the entirety of the summer, Bruno Fernandes' move to Manchester United is not being dependent on what happens with Paul Pogba, because I'm desperate for Bruno Fernandes to link up with Paul Pogba in our midfield, because I think they'd look a good base, and I think they complement each other fantastically well, and we need someone that can score goals in our midfield, someone that can create chances in our midfield, and Bruno Fernandes is that right type of caliber player. And also Bruno Fernandes Fernandez's tenacity is good, his work ethic is good, he's also very, very good from set pieces, and of course he is only 24 years of age, is Bruno Fernandes, so he's still got a lot of years ahead of him. Bruno, Sporting Lisbon's boss, he's aware of the speculation, he's had his overarching view on it, and he's probably come to accept the fact that he wants to leave, obviously, but he did say the other week that, he's still unsure if Bruno Fernandes will leave, and he's given his analysis over the course of the summer, and he's said that, clubs have been keen on signing Bruno Fernandes, is what he basically has said. But Federico Varandas, he had his, overall theory on it, and, he actually, revealed how much it will cost, for Bruno Fernandes, to be sold by Sporting Lisbon. So Sporting Lisbon do initially value him at 70 million. I think Sporting Lisbon do want around 63, or is it 64 million pounds. Obviously, recently it says, we was not willing to pay what they were demanding. We was only willing to pay around 50 million pounds for his services. But it only came out the other week saying that, we believe the majority of the speculation about Bruno Fernandes, was actually stemming from Portugal, his homeland, rather than Manchester. But he is predominantly an attacking midfielder, and I want him to come to Manchester United. I think he'll have a better career at Manchester United, than he will at Tottenham. I do know Tottenham are a good team now. Tottenham are a very, very good team. This is the best Tottenham team I've seen in this generation for quite some time. But obviously, we're not a good, we're a toxic club, and we have been for the last 5 or 6 years. But we're still one of the biggest clubs in the world. We're a bigger club than Tottenham. We've got massive revenues and that. And we're the biggest club, one of the biggest clubs in the world, and we're the most successful team in England historically. Don't forget, 13 leagues, 13 Premier Leagues, 20 all in all. And I think Bruno Fernandes was saying a while back that he was attracted to the history and mystique of Manchester United. So we have got a fantastic, history behind us. But maybe Bruno Fernandes wants to be in Champions League football, and that could go against us, in that aspect of getting Bruno Fernandes, because obviously, Tottenham can offer him Champions League football. But Fernandes is still, he's still got 4 years remaining on his contract with Sporting Lisbon. Don't forget, obviously he's been at Sporting Lisbon 2 years, and he has done, really well. He hasn't really got the experience of playing to the highest level. I think he scored 32 goals for Sporting Lisbon last season in 50 appearances, so that's very, very impressive. So his goal scoring pedigree is fantastic. So the transfer saga about Bruno Fernandes does continue to persist, but I do believe it will end either this evening, or his transfer saga will end tomorrow. So basically, Tottenham are orchestrating on hijacking our transfer for Bruno Fernandes, but we've been emerged as the favourites to sign him for quite some time. Obviously, Liverpool had obviously been credited with an interest. I don't think they're in for him now. Liverpool haven't signed anyone this summer, but they invested well in the last couple of windows. Obviously, I think obviously a couple of months ago, Sporting has been assured that he was going to be going to Manchester City, but obviously Manchester City had withdrawn their interest. Obviously they're not in now for Bruno Fernandes, but there was, and I thought at one point there definitely was going to get him. But like I said, there's been a few midfielders on our agenda, but obviously Bruno Fernandes has been our main priority target. So we will see what happens about that. So the main part of this current video, guys, was to give you the latest news about what's going on with Dybala. Also to give you the news of what's going on with Mario Mandzukic, and also keep you up to date with everything else, as we always do on this channel. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thank you for watching, guys.